Hey, it's Neve, and I am doing the expert Q&A this week for Gemma Went's Simply Smart Social Group. And the topic is about using video to maximize your social impact. So I wanted to give you some tips up front about video and video creation. So I thought, what better way to give you tips about video than on a video? So this will be fairly informal, hopefully not too long, and I'm going to pack in as much as I possibly can. So I will be looking at some notes. Apologies if I'm like looking down sometimes, but I do want to make sure to squeeze as much in as possible and that I remember everything. So obviously in the Q&A you can ask questions about anything that you learn in this video, or indeed anything about video marketing. I am happy to help, and I'm really delighted and excited, looking forward to doing this Q&A together. So to give you a little bit of background, my name is Neve. That's pronounced like Eve with an N at the front, even though it's spelled all funny. I grew up in California, hence the American accent, but I've lived in Ireland for the last 14 years. And I became an online entrepreneur in 2006. So coming up on 10 years this year, which is actually kind of exciting. But I've only been a successful online entrepreneur for about the last 4 years. And video absolutely has made the difference for me. I definitely spent a lot of time flailing around in the online space, kind of not quite knowing what I was doing. But so when my first business became successful, I was doing things like I had a group and I was building relationships in that group and encouraging people to come in and buy my stuff. I was blogging, I was reaching out to people. So I was doing a lot of work and I was making a few sales for that. And I realized that video was really powerful. I was like, this is a really powerful way to build these relationships sort of without as much work as it's taking right now. But I had some problems, like I was afraid of the camera and I didn't know what I was doing with video. But once I started to incorporate video and I learned a lot about video, things started to really take off for me. So that business, I built it within a few months to a multiple six-figure business. And then once I got, a few years down the line in that, I decided I'd kind of outgrown that business. I decided to use my skills in a different way, and I started a second business, which is what I do now, which is as an online business designer and a marketing strategist. So I help people design a business out of what they want to do, a business that will actually work, and then I take people with businesses and help them create an impactful marketing strategy to bring their business to the next level. So my two businesses have both been built primarily on using videos. And at this point, I even, apart from like I do a ton of videos for training, for my products and services, but I don't do as many front-end videos anymore because at this point my YouTube channels get something like 12,000 videos a month pretty consistently. They bring in, 8 to 10 leads a day, whether I'm doing stuff or not. So the videos kind of that I made years ago sort of stay out there and keep cranking the traffic for me. So it's been an incredible experience. It's definitely worth getting over any fear you have of video and beginning to incorporate it in your business. So why is video so great? I mean, you probably know, like instinctually, that video is a really, really powerful tool. But if you think about like what we try and do in social media marketing and in content marketing, it's really all about helping our audience get to know us, get to see us, as an authority figure, as someone that they can trust, get to know who we are as people, and get to see how what it is that we offer is helpful to them. So it's sort of building, it's not just know, like, and trust, it's also building this relationship over time where they see how what you bring to the table will help them. So when you do this, when you do all this work, that does that over time. But what a video does is it cuts through the noise and it helps your audience see you as a real person. Because when someone is watching a video, especially an informal video, it feels very much like having a conversation with a friend. So it can massively, massively impact your business and can cut down a lot of the work, because the impact that you can have, the results that you can have when you begin to incorporate video is massive. It really fast forwards the relationship that you have with your audience. It's a really fantastic thing. You probably already know that. Now my phone is over there. I'm going to grab my phone. Excuse me. So I have done all of my videos on nothing more than a smartphone. Actually, the phone, it's not this phone that I use the one I'm recording on right now, which is an iPhone 4S. It's old, but I love it, and it's always done everything that I wanted it to do. So there's a few tips and tricks that I'm going to teach you that will help you to make videos that look good simply using your smartphone. You don't have to have any fancy equipment. In fact, a lot of times the fancy equipment will just really get in the way of building these powerful relationships. So we're going to have a few tips now. So to start with, let's look at what doesn't matter, because there's a lot of things that really don't matter that people get caught up in that stop them from creating videos. The first thing that doesn't matter is the background. Now, I know I have a nice background and I'm trying not to be hypocritical, but it really doesn't matter what's in your background as long as there's nothing super distracting. You know, so as long as there's not like a giant mess where someone's like, what's all of that? And they're trying to figure out what's behind you. The audience really doesn't care what's in your background. I made the first couple of hundred videos in front of a blank wall in my house. Okay, so your background really doesn't matter. The other thing that doesn't matter is what you look like. So a lot of people won't get on video until they get sort of all dolled up. You know, it's like, oh, I gotta go put on the makeup and I gotta take a shower and all that stuff. And the truth is that the audience doesn't really care what you look like. They care how you're coming across, right? So what I mean is the more comfortable that you are, the more your audience feels that and the better connection you will make. So if you feel the need to go and make yourself look how you don't normally look, you will feel a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit awkward, and that's what comes across. So you're actually much better off training yourself to turn on a video camera how you normally look. Now that doesn't mean to make yourself uncomfortable. However you normally look, maybe walking out the front door. You know, it doesn't mean you have to show up with bedhead or anything, but getting comfortable just turning on a camera as you are is a really, really big, wonderful skill to build, and your audience really doesn't care whether you're wearing makeup or not. Okay, so it's about how you feel. Show up on camera how you usually show up in life. Okay, let's see, is there anything else? Now that brings us to what does matter. Okay, so there's three major things that matter. The first thing is light and sound. Okay, so it doesn't matter what the background looks like, it doesn't matter, you know, how you look, but you need to be well lit. So remember, the audience needs to feel like they are having a conversation with you in the room. That's what creates this amazing sense of connection. So you do need to have your face really clearly lit. It doesn't mean that you need studio lighting. I've never had any fancy equipment. I'll give you some tips on lighting in a minute. But you do need to be well lit so that they're not like struggling to make you out. That is going to break the connection. And sound, they need to be able to hear you clearly. So it's just that they're not straining. If anyone has to go to any extra effort to actually engage in your video, they won't, because people don't online. So you need them to be able to hear you clearly and see you clearly. So that's how light and sound matter. The second thing that matters is eye contact with the lens. I'm going to show you a trick to find the lens, again in a minute, but you do need to be making eye contact with the actual camera lens. Now right now I'm on my iPhone and I can actually see myself over on the screen, but I am looking at the lens, because look at what happens. If I look at myself, this is an instant break in connection. You no longer feel like I'm talking to you. It no longer feels like a conversation. But when I look back over at the lens, woo, now we're having a conversation again. So it's really important that you make eye contact the way you would in a conversation. You don't need to stare down the lens, and I look away plenty. I scratch my head. I do that thing where your eyes go up in your head while you're thinking, but you bring it back to having the conversation with the lens of your camera. And the third thing that really matters in making videos that connect with your audience is open heart. And what I mean by that is bringing an open heart so that you show up really authentically. So you want to consider this like having a conversation with a good friend. So I always take a moment before starting a video to do something that helps me feel like me. Okay, so some people will turn on music and dance. Some people will watch funny YouTube videos to laugh. There's all kinds of things that you can do. Whatever makes you feel like you and makes you feel like, yeah, I'm me, I'm ready to go, my heart is open, I'm ready to share authentically from the heart. What I do is I take a moment to breathe. So a moment just to focus on my breathing and get sort of settled in and bring my attention down into my heart area so I feel very centered. And then from that centered place, I know that I can talk sort of off the cuff, make it a conversation, very relaxed, and that I'm sharing authentically, and that's what people will feel. So those are the things that do matter. Notes. And then that brings us to making good looking videos from your phone. Okay, so the first tip for making a good looking video with your phone is how you hold it. Well, I don't hold it, but is the way it's being held. So most people will start out thinking that they should take videos like this, where your camera is up and down, vertical videos. And that's how most people take selfies. However, on video, you want to turn your camera this way so that it's landscape. Okay, what happens when it's landscape is then the camera actually has really good normal framing, so it's natural. It's like what people are used to seeing on TV or on, because your TV screen goes this way, your computer laptop goes this way, your phone maybe goes up and down, but I know for me, I watch videos like this. So what will happen is if you record like this, and then you put your video up on YouTube or something like that, it will add these big black bars at the side and people are looking at a very narrow person in it. Again, it disrupts the connection because it no longer feels like a conversation. To have a conversation, they want to feel like they can see part of the room, that it's not just your face in the middle of it, but they can actually see part of the room. It's like you're inviting them into your home to have a conversation with you or wherever you might happen to be. So you always, except if you're on Facebook Live or something where it makes you be vertical, you always want to go horizontal, go landscape. So before you press record, turn your phone this way, then record it this way, okay? And you'll get that extra beautiful stuff at the side. Now that brings me to framing. So to make a really professional looking video, you want to have good framing within your camera. That's where you are within the view, right? So a couple of tips to help you with framing are you always want to have your camera at eye level. Okay, so being at eye level makes it feel like we're on the same level, we're having a conversation. If I were to be higher up, I can't really do it, but if I were to be higher up and the camera's down here, which is the number one mistake people make, like if you open up and do a laptop video maybe, and your laptop camera is lower than your eyes, you look down. And it makes your audience member feel like you are looking down on them. Now if you're looking up, again, it's slightly unnatural. It doesn't feel like a conversation anymore. So you do want to have your camera at eye level so you're having a one-to-one conversation with the audience member. In terms of framing, you want your head to be a couple of fingers below the top of the screen. So you want them to be able to see a couple fingers below the top of the screen, and then also have a little bit of space at the side. So you can play around with this, and this is just a guideline. This is just how to get like the sort of ideal framing, but I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. So if you're like, I do walking videos with bad framing, I often do videos with bad framing, but it's helpful to know what makes frames look very professional, because that's how you're gonna get great videos. So if you're, the framing that's good is that they feel like they're having a conversation, you're not too close. Like if I'm really close up, now you can see all the horror that is my, my skin at the moment. So if I come really close up, it's really intense. The feeling is, oh my gosh, she's kind of yelling at me. And if I go far back, the feeling is I'm shouting at you, well, shouting and you lose the connection, because we no longer feel like we're just having that private conversation. So you want to feel that the person should be taking up, I guess about, I don't know, 60% of the screen or something. I'm terrible at math. But the person should be taking up like a triangle shape within the screen, and then you have other things, background area behind you. Okay, so that is framing, landscape, lighting. Now to get good lighting is actually fairly easy. You have a source of light that will perfectly light you with any kind of camera, and that is the sun. So I like to use natural daylight. Now I'm recording right now kind of at the end of my natural daylight time. Like, I'm a little on the edge here, but this is an informal video and I know you guys don't mind. So the point is that your face is well lit. Now, sometimes if the sun is beaming right in on you, you will get like whitewashed out and people won't be able to see you very well, but experiment with this. Find a place in your house where the light is coming towards you. And the number one thing to remember, especially if you're recording on your camera phone, is that there's no light source behind you. A lot of people make the mistake of recording right in front of a window. And then what happens is your phone focuses in on the light, it registers the light coming behind you, and then you go dark and they can't see your face, you lose connection. So find a window somewhere in your house where there's a good natural light coming in. If you don't have that, you can, set up lamps and things, try and get yourself pretty evenly lit, but see if you can use the sun, because it's the easiest source of light, totally works, and everyone has access to it. Unless you live in the Arctic Circle in the middle of winter. I actually struggle in winter because I run out of daylight at about 4 p.m. so I have to have all my videos recorded by then. So lighting. Sound, I don't have an example. Oh, I do. So for sound, your sound should be pretty good on your normal smartphone, but if you find that your sound is not great quality or it's kind of low, this is what you can do. You can take your headset that came with your phone. Any headset that you can conduct calls on, you'll see has this little thing. That's a microphone. It's a really high quality microphone. You don't have to go buy a fancy one. You can plug that into your phone, and I drape the microphone on my lap so I don't have to have headphones plugged in. No one can see it. You have to be careful not to touch it, but it picks up your voice really, really well. I normally go without it because my microphone is just fine, but if you find that your audio quality isn't great, you can always grab a headphones microphone. It's probably already in your house. It gives you really, really great audio. And the final recording tip for creating awesome videos with your smartphone is finding the lens, okay? So now you know how to make yourself look good in the frame, have it at the right level, get yourself well lit, sound great, all that stuff is wonderful. But remember, one of the most important things is eye contact with the lens. It's a little bit uncomfortable for most people at the start. They find it really hard to continue to look at a little circle, and in fact, for many people, it's hard to find the lens. On some smartphones, they're kind of hidden. Like on this one, there's all kinds of different things along here that could be a lens. So the quickest and easiest way to find the lens on your phone is to take your finger, turn on the camera, take your finger, and start to look at anything that looks like a lens. Your lens looks like a little circle with a little red dot in the center. But you might say, well, there's a couple circles on mine here. There's 4 different circles. So you go to each circle with your finger and put your finger right over it. And you'll know you found the lens when your finger takes up the entire screen. That will be your lens, and once you find that with your finger, that's where you look when you're recording your videos. And the final tip for creating great looking videos is background. Now I know I just said that background doesn't matter, and really it doesn't. However, it can add a really professional look to your videos. So 2 ways to get great looking backgrounds. One is to have a backdrop. Plenty of people will have like a hanging rack or something where you can drape a beautiful colored fabric, something that really matches you and your brand. That works perfectly fine. My favorite way to create an impressive, professional looking background is having depth. So it's really interesting. I can even find, hallways or kitchens, anywhere where you don't have a lot of mess, but you have depth behind the subject of the video, actually adds a lot of professionalism in it. With the professional equipment, you get that depth of field thing where the face will be in focus and everything behind you will be out of focus. Now, because your phone doesn't have that capability, everything will be in focus. However, it's kind of, it just adds this extra level of professionalism. It makes your videos look really high quality when you have depth behind you. So look in your house and see if there's somewhere where you have a window in front of you and kind of depth behind you. And that will make a massive difference. And now I have a few tips on getting the most out of your social media videos. Now the first tip is to keep them short. 2 to 6 minutes is great. People don't tend to click on and watch longer videos, or they tend to tune out pretty quickly. People are really, really precious with their time, And with a video, as opposed to an article, they actually are forced to sit through every minute of it. They can't skim it at their own pace. So people tend to avoid longer videos. My videos these days tend to be about 6 minutes, but 2 minutes is great for getting new traffic because people are usually willing to try out a 2-minute video, and usually as well, a 2-minute video will help you to stay really concise and not end up sort of blathering on as we do, okay? So try to aim between 2 and 6 minutes. Make sure you keep them real. You know, this is about someone getting to know you, so it's not about being polished, it's not about being rehearsed. My ultimate tip on this is to always use your first take. It's hard at first because we get really scared and we stumble and this little voice inside our head goes, no, do it again. But trust me, you'll be really, really happy if you build the habit of using your first take. Sometimes it's those little things that make us seem more real to our audience, as they notice that we stumble over a word, or maybe there's some noise in the background or something happens to make the video imperfect. It's the imperfections that allow people to feel that they know you. So, as far as content, share stories, share ahas, share your perspectives, share your thoughts at the moment. And if you really are brave, consider starting to do live videos, because again, that really, really ups the connection. If you're doing recorded videos, at least get in the habit of using your first take so that when you're ready to do live videos, it's going to be really easy for you because you're used to just turning on, talking, and speaking from the heart. That's what it's all about. People tend to complicate videos and try and make it really, complicated. But it really, truly is about turning on the camera and speaking from the heart. So share from the heart, share things that are pieces of you, but also pieces of your knowledge so that people can, over time, get to know who you are, get to know what it is that you have to say about the world, how you can help them, and get to know about your business. Now then, once you start to create these connection videos, I share my connection videos on Facebook, I share them in my emails, I share them on YouTube, I put them on my blog, I put them everywhere. But these connection videos will help you to get a new audience and help you to cultivate the relationship with your existing audience. Then you want to have pathways into your business that you can send people from those videos. So if you're talking about a particular topic, you can say you want to learn more about this topic. I actually have a special PDF gift that gives you 31 ways to do X, Y, and Z, and you can click the link above or below this video to get that. So there's calls to action that you can add to your videos, but over time you want to begin to funnel people into pathways where they become your list, where they go onto your email list, or they go on your friends list, or they do something to further the relationship and begin to look at what it is that you have to offer. A big mistake I see people make with videos is never taking that relationship and directing it anywhere where people can begin to buy from you. So you absolutely want to funnel people into your opt-ins, funnel people over to your blog posts, funnel them to your business page, funnel them to your personal page, and whatever way you're connecting with your people, use your videos and tell them where to go next. So those are my tips for you today. I'm super excited about the Q&A, so if you already have questions about video, write them down. There's so much more. I tried to squeeze as much as possible in this video, but I'm already realizing there's so much more to share with you guys, so hopefully we'll get a lot done in the Q&A. And you might be facing a couple of obstacles at the moment to video. For me, I had 2 major obstacles when I got started. The first was fear of the camera. I mean, it's totally normal to feel a little unnatural talking into the little circle and to find being on camera a little bit scary. How I overcame that was simply from practice. My very first video, I was so scared. I was holding the camera and the whole camera was shaking. You can't even watch the video. It's shaking so badly. I didn't even think, just put it down. But fear was a big one, and you can overcome it through practice. I actually run a 30-day video challenge to help people with exactly that, getting comfortable on camera, recording a video a day for 30 days, just a short 2-minute video to really begin to get good on videos. It starts out to help you feel comfortable, and learn little tips about video along the way. So I have another one of those in May. I'll see if I can put the link in the Q&A. And then the second problem I had was not knowing what to do with my videos, not being sure on what topics I should do, not being entirely sure on what to do with it, not knowing anything about video marketing. So I took courses. I took a course on video creation. I took a course on YouTube. Well, I took a lot of courses on YouTube and courses on Facebook video. And over time, I began to get an enormous amount of video knowledge, which is what has helped me have such an impact with my videos. So one of the projects that I have is I have a membership site program called Lighted Up Video Marketing, which is, short bite-sized videos that help you learn about video marketing and video creation as you go, so that you can be out there using video in your business and then dipping in and out of the site to learn more about it. And it's also a giant community. So I'm really, really excited. Make sure you write down your questions in advance so that we can jump right in. Can't wait to see you on the Q&A. Bye guys.